But without any further delay, please help me give Mr. Kevin McMullen a warm John Carroll welcome.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the right one.
Great, thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is truly a pleasure to be at John Carroll and back on campus. College campuses are great places, high energy, great enthusiasm, and it is great to be with you. I look forward to spending the next few minutes telling you the story of OMNOVA, where we are today, where we're going, and answer any questions that you have. Most importantly, answer any questions that you have. I'd like to thank Dr. Elliott for his kind introduction, and Dean Mikiak as well for having me here today. It is truly a pleasure to be part of the Mellen series. So without further ado, I'd like to start with, see if I can change the slides. That's the first challenge. There we go. So OMNOVA Solutions and John Carroll have a growing partnership that we are very excited about. We've listed up here some of our recent grads that are working at our new, brand new shiny headquarters in Beechwood, 15 minutes from the John Carroll campus. A lot of great people that have joined OMNOVA. We look to continue to build the partnership that we've started with John Carroll going forward. One of the connection points, we're very fortunate, the chairman of the John Carroll board, Mike Merriman, also a John Carroll grad, is the lead director on our board and has been on our board of directors for a number of years. So the tentacles go far and deep in terms of the connections with John Carroll, and we look to grow them going forward. So what I thought we would do today is do a little role playing. Let's have some fun today. Hopefully this isn't a sermon, but it's more of interaction. But I'd like to do a little role playing, and I'd like for you all to put yourself in the shoes of a portfolio manager. Many of you are finance majors, but I'd like you for the next 40 minutes or so to be a portfolio manager of a $1 billion portfolio, and your job is to try to decide where to invest your money to generate competitive returns for your clients that are investing in your portfolio. A little context, we're in a global economy that has very low future growth expectations. Unfortunately, that's the reality of the economy we actually face today. And as I recall from my days at the University of Chicago, shareholder value creation is based on expectations that investors have about a company's ability to generate growth in earnings and cash generation relative to the current stock price and other investment options. And so why do I say relative to the current stock price? If you look at a company like Apple, everybody thinks that Apple should grow aggressively going forward, and so priced in to the stock price of Apple right now is an expectation of strong future growth. If they stop growing, presumably that stock price comes down. And so it's relative to what's priced into the stock today that you're trying to make your investment decision. So we're going to go through a little story of this company called OMNOVA Solutions, and you as a portfolio manager, the question for you is what questions do you have to better understand the company? And at the end of the day, the ultimate test is would you invest in this company called OMNOVA Solutions? So OMNOVA is a difficult company to understand. We are complex in terms of the number of markets we serve and the diversity we have. We actually think that's a strength. But telling the OMNOVA story can be challenging because it's difficult to understand where we play in the diverse markets we play. But what I'd like to start off with here is a very simple overview of OMNOVA plays in the ingredients and component space. So someone else coined this phrase, so I'm borrowing. We don't make the finished product, we make the finished product better. And so we make components that go into finished products across a wide variety of marketplaces using a core set of technologies. Two of the greatest assets we have as a company are the customers that we do business with. They are the leaders in their industries. They have iconic brands. And the technology that OMNOVA has as a company to bring to bear to create value for those customers. And putting those things together is the magic of OMNOVA. That's what we're all about. That's what we do. And I wanted to just take a few minutes right up front here and give you a very high-level view of the kind of things that we do, just examples of the different products and markets that we serve. So, as a result of OMNOVA products, diapers are more absorbent. Now, that's probably not real important to all of us in this room, but I guarantee you it's very important to the baby in this picture, and it's really important to that baby's mother, And it's also really important to this company called Procter & Gamble, who is our customer, that we have a sole source relationship around the world to provide them additives that go into their diapers to make them more absorbent. That's why you have a diaper in the first place, right? So as a result of our products, restaurants and retail environments look better, last longer, and cost less. We have a surfacing product, a laminate product, that is 30 to 50% less expensive than the standard product that's been used in the industry for the last 75 years. It has design advantages, and so there are a lot of reasons, and it's much more durable. So there are a lot of reasons why our product is winning the day in restaurant and retail environments. Also, we have a strong and growing coating additive and coating resins business. And we have many different products, but one of the products we make is for masonry coating. This is an iconic hotel in Venice. And as a result of our product, that building holds up to harsh climates. The color doesn't fade, it doesn't bleed, and it can be occupied sooner. You can put our coating on, it cures faster, and the occupants of the hotel are in hours as opposed to competing products where it's days and weeks. Very important to the hotel owner in this case. Also, we have a strong business in Asia and China in particular for automotive interiors, and as a result of our product, the automotive interiors are comfortable, they're durable, they're cleanable, and they're much more affordable, and their look and feel helps sell the cars to the consumers in China and around the world. So a number of examples of where our products make the finished product better, where we're bringing value to our customers, to iconic companies and brands around the world. We are a key enabler in those products, and so we look at ourselves as the science and better brands, and that's a tagline that you'll see us using a lot more as we go forward, the critical component that makes the better brand do the things that it does every day. So I thought maybe just at the start here, I'd talk a little bit about the keys to winning as we see it. So we think, in no particular order, the keys to winning are having a great strategy that creates sustainable competitive advantage, having a great team, having a winning culture, executing, and never forgetting that it is all about the customer. So there's been novels written about strategy, and there are new books out every day, and there's new twists on it. And I find that many companies lose their way in terms of what's really important. And really, at the end of the day, strategy is not as complicated as many will make it to be. I think at the end of the day, it is about you're competing, you're playing in a game against a competitor, and you're trying to win versus that competitor. So it's how do you create competitive advantage that you can sustain over time? And I think there are two basic questions that need to be answered when it comes to strategy. Where am I going to compete? Which means where do I have capability that are unique, where I believe I have a better chance of winning? And how am I going to compete? So that's important. It's one of the key elements. It's not the only element up here. A great team, very important. Again, winning culture, execution, it's all about the customer. The interesting thing to me about these are just about any institution in the world, these are the keys to winning. You know, our beloved Cleveland Cavaliers, these are the things that they focus on. And this guy, LeBron James, kind of makes this great team pretty powerful. The Cleveland Indians had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Mark Shapiro, who's now with the Toronto Blue Jays. His view of the world is a great winning baseball organization starts with great culture, and everything else comes off of that, but he focuses on all these things. I suspect the football team for John Carroll has many of these elements in their keys to success going forward as well. So I think they're pretty representative across the board for any institution, any competitive environment, keys to success. So I thought I'd spend a little bit of time on who is OMNOVA Solutions, then talk about where we're going, and then wrap up with how are we doing, what are the results, and then answer your questions. So OMNOVA Solutions today is a global technology-based supplier of customized performance critical products, like you saw at the beginning. We've been around in different forms for over 100 years. General Tire is our original company way back in the day, created over 100 years ago. We just celebrated the 100-year anniversary. Deep focus on research and development and innovation, and I would emphasize the development part of the R&D. Diverse end markets, specialty chemicals, and performance materials. We think the diversity is a strength, It's core technology that we're bringing to bear in a lot of different markets, and so that's what keeps us focused. It's the core technology. And world-class manufacturing optimized by Lean Six Sigma, a tool that we use to improve our performance every day and stay focused on those things that really matter to our customers. Our businesses, there are two business segments that we go to market. Performance Chemicals is the largest at about 3/4 of the sales of our company, and Engineered Surfaces is about 1/4 of the sales of the company. Both, again, are components or ingredients that go into finished product, very deep and broad technical expertise, and in virtually all cases, our product plays a very important part of the performance of the finished product, but represents a very small part of the finished cost of that product. And we like our position in the value chain as a result of those two things: differentiated performance, low part of the finished cost. So we've done a lot of work over the last 4 or 5 years, our team working in a very focused way to globalize our company. If you look back to 2010, almost 90% of our revenue was here in North America, the rest outside. Today, dial the clock forward, less than 60% is in North America. We have a growing business in Asia with manufacturing and technology supporting that, as well as in Europe and the Middle East. And so that opens more opportunities for us to utilize our core technology around the world in markets and with customers that are looking for that technology. Our values are very critical. It forms the bedrock of a culture. These are the values that we focus on that talks to not only what we do, but how we do it. It's something that we talk a lot about and revisit all the time. At the end of the day, this might be the most important competitive advantage. And just about every company has values, and they'll hang a plaque on the wall and say, "Isn't it great we have values?" What we try to do, and we all don't always get it right for sure, we try to live these values every day. And so if you as a new customer walk into our facility, we don't have to tell you what our values are. You walk away understanding it because you saw how our people operated, how they interacted with you, and how we performed and how we perform in the marketplace every day. And I'll guarantee you one of the most important things to large multinational companies that are deciding on which suppliers to do business with and getting to know a new company, understanding the core values of their people is critical. And maybe the most important one up here is, does that company operate with integrity? No one wants to do business with a company that doesn't. It is the most critical thing there, and so very important, something we very much are focused on. And I think it is a great way for us to talk to recruits we're talking with about joining our company in terms of what we focus on as a team. Also, as part of our core values, the environment is very important to us, and our sustainability initiative has really 3 legs to it. First of all, we develop new products every day that help our customers improve their environmental footprint by lowering volatile organic compounds, by eliminating solvents, by doing all kinds of things that improve the environmental performance of their products in their markets, something that's very important to them and their customers. Secondly, we have an initiative around our company in all of our facilities to reduce our environmental footprint, reducing the amount of water we use, reducing the amount of waste, increasing recycling, all those things critical to reducing our environmental footprint. And third but not least is we absolutely believe in the tenet of giving back to the communities in which we operate. We're very fortunate in our company that we have a foundation that helps us do that. But maybe more importantly than the money we give back to the communities in which we operate, it's the time that our people give back to worthy causes in the community and the volunteerism that we promote with our people. And so this is a very important part of the values that bring us together and that we focus on. Real quickly, the global markets that we play in our chemicals business, they are diverse. Specialty coatings is one of our core areas that we're focused on. We play in a wide variety of coatings, from metal coatings to wood coatings to masonry and stone coatings. We don't make the coating, we make the critical resin that makes that coating perform. Oil and gas drilling, a tough industry in the last couple of years as oil prices have come down. But we've actually done much better than the underlying industry. We just wrapped up a quarter where we had significant growth when the industry has been down significantly. We've done much better by leveraging our technology and diversifying our geography in the oil and gas space. Non-wovens, I talked about. And not only do we play in hygiene products, but we play in filtration, all the air and water and oil filters that are in your car or in your house or in your HVAC systems typically are a non-woven media. We play in that space, as well as in healthcare and surgical, as well as construction non-woven products, on and on. So a very diverse set of end markets. You might look at this and say, boy, you look like you're pretty scattered. The core thing that brings us together is the core technology is used across these end markets. And a hallmark of a truly specialty chemical and specialty materials business is you'll play in a lot of markets, but you'll leverage technology across those diverse markets. Our engineered surfaces business, again, a diverse set of global markets, from high-performing laminates in food service and retail and recreational vehicles, to coated fabrics and upholstery material for automotive, rapid transit. What you see there is a Bay Area rapid transit car, San Francisco and Oakland. We've done a complete refurbishment of all of their cars. They were using textile seating, and we were able to dramatically improve the ridership experience by using our material that is much more cleanable, durable. And so they have ridership surveys that have shown a dramatic increase after they've installed our material, as one example of products that we provide. So that's enough about who we are. Where are we going as a company? We have identified a couple of core metrics that we're focused on. The first is growth of our specialty business. We look at growing at 2 times the underlying growth rate of the markets. That means we're going to have to grow market share. That means we're going to have a superior value proposition to the competitors that are out there. And so our focus on growing our position and growing at twice the underlying markets, and using some of the leverage points that are up here in terms of our commercial excellence efforts and our value-based pricing and improving mix and the like. Secondly, is from a profitability standpoint, our focus is to get to mid-teens, 15% or better operating profit margin. We had an interim goal to get to double-digit. We have surpassed that interim goal, and so now we believe we have a very good opportunity to get to double-digit, 15% or better operating profits in the next couple of years. And we believe there's a great opportunity in the marketplace for us, and we're very well positioned to take advantage of it. And just to take a minute to talk about that, on one axis is the level of technology that a company can bring to bear to a market. On the other axis is the willingness of those companies to collaborate and customize solutions for the customer. There are very large chemical companies out there that have consolidated over time that have great technology, but as they have gotten larger, they have become more and more unwilling to collaborate and customize with individual customers in specialty spaces. On the other hand, there are some very small regional players that are willing to customize all day long, will do anything for you, incredibly flexible. They just don't have the global footprint and the technology to really bring the solutions that the customers are looking for on a global basis. And then there is OMNOVA, which I think our size is a big advantage. We are big enough to have a global footprint. We're big enough to have the right technology to solve the problems, but we are not so big that we're not willing to collaborate and work in a very flexible way with our customers in these specialty spaces. And so from that standpoint, we think it's an unmet need in the marketplace, and we think we have a great opportunity to fill in for that unmet need. A great example of this consolidation that's happened over time that we had a very good glimpse on was the acquisition by Dow Chemical of Rohm and Haas a couple of years ago. We were in a joint venture with Rohm and Haas. In our view, one of the best truly specialty chemical companies that were out there, and we were competing with Dow, and we saw the very different cultures of the two. And when the two came together, we thought they were going to have lots of challenges, and they certainly have. And again, we think those kind of consolidations over time really create a great opportunity for OMNOVA that we're trying to take advantage of. So what are our strategic priorities? There are 4 simple ones. We'll go through each of them. The first is to accelerate growth in our specialty businesses. The second is to expand margins and generate cash in our performance materials business. So this is not a one-strategy-fits-all deal. We have businesses we absolutely think we can grow, and we'll show you what they are and why. And then we have other businesses that are in very mature markets where top-line growth is going to be very difficult. We manage them differently. The strategies are different. For those businesses, the focus is how do we improve profitability and how do we improve cash generation from those businesses, and we're making great progress in doing that. Third is to drive and improve return on investment. And fourth is to deploy a balanced capital allocation policy. We'll talk about each of those. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The great thing about this is everyone on our team, 2,000 people around the world, understand what our priorities are and understand how they fit into achieving those priorities. And I think the simpler the better when it comes to trying to get 2,000 people in places all around the world marching in the same direction and aligned. So the first one, accelerating growth in our specialty business. We're targeting specialty growth markets. I'll tell you what those are in a second. We've significantly strengthened our leadership and capabilities. We've added more resources to these growth markets. So allocation of capital, allocation of human resource, allocation of time and effort. We're focusing on areas where we think we can win. Where to compete and how to compete, that's the key part of strategy. Strong brand-based technology and global footprint, and strengthening commercial excellence for us. 3 key areas for commercial excellence. It is sales, and we've improved the sales process and the sales capability. It is strategic marketing, and it is innovation and new product development, and having all 3 of those work effectively together. So in which markets will we focus on to grow and win? These are the markets, these are the areas that we view as specialty markets where we have a great position to win. It's a diverse set of markets. I won't go through all of them, but what's common across all of these? First of all, they are very large. $25 billion in the case of coatings, $4.5 billion in North America alone in the case of laminates. So they are large. They are growing markets, typically at GDP or better in terms of their inherent growth. OMNOVA Solutions today has a very strong niche position in a small part of that market, but certainly we have lots of headroom from which to grow. So we feel like we're focused on an area of strength, an area we know, where we know the customers in the markets, and where we have a lot of headroom from which to grow. And so it is these markets that we're leveraging this core technology to try to grow across the diverse set of markets, both in our chemical space as well as in our engineered surfaces. A couple of examples of recent innovations that we've come out with in the last couple of months. There are many more. One area, I mentioned a growing area in coatings. We've introduced 6 new product platforms in the last quarter, 3 months alone. One of the areas is a new direct-to-metal coating additive. And our direct-to-metal product has best-in-class corrosion resistance and adhesion to the substrate. Now, if you think for a second, why do people paint metal? Usually it's to prevent it from rusting. And so having best-in-class corrosion resistance is kind of important. And so we think we have a very strong value proposition. Also, you can formulate our product into the finished paint in a much simpler way, so lower cost for our customers to use our product. And importantly, this is an environmentally friendly product. This is a water-based product with no solvents. And so we're very excited about this. It's just recently in the market. It's growing a lot of interest. Another area in our nonwovens area, historically in nonwovens, we were the glue that held the nonwoven fibers together. We were a binder system. We recognized that we opened up a whole new marketplace if we got into surface treatment of nonwovens to impart different properties, softness, hand, moisture, barrier properties, absorbent properties. And so we introduced this new surface treatment category that's new to the market and gaining a lot of interest. And then in our laminate space, I mentioned our SurfX product, where up to 30 to 50% lower cost than the product that's been used since World War II around the world, high-pressure laminate. High-pressure laminate is a great product, except it chips and breaks, chips and cracks. And we see the need in many applications to prevent that. Our material doesn't, so it's more durable, it lasts longer, and it has lots of design advantages. So 3 examples, there are many more, of innovation that came from great work on our marketing team to understand what is the unmet need, great work by our technology team to develop products and leverage technology to provide products that meet that unmet need, and then now great work by our sales team in selling that through with our customers and working through with our customers to gain adoption of these new technologies that we've introduced. Secondly, to expand margins and generate cash in our performance materials business. So one of the big areas in this business that's been a legacy business for our company is coated paper for publication papers. So for those of you who use iPad and iPhones, You probably have a pretty good insight that publication paper demand is going down at a clip of about 5% a year, and it's been in structural decline for quite some time. We recognize this. We understand that that decline is not going to reverse anytime soon. I don't think all of you are going to throw your iPads away and go right back to reading magazines. So it's a structural decline. We're in the business. We needed to figure out how do we be profitable in this business, how do we generate cash from it, but we're probably not going to grow the top line a lot. And so again, different strategy for different situation. The focus here is expanding cash, expanding profit. And as part of that, we've done a lot of work on our cost base. We've done a lot of work in improving our ability to serve and strengthening our customer relationships. So this is the high point for our cost actions here. Difficult actions. It resulted in us closing 2 factories. That is not an easy thing to do. But if we did not do that, we would not have a sustainable business. And so more people would have been affected by us letting it linger and not taking the tough action. And so today, we have a business that has taken 300 million pounds of capacity out of the industry. We have utilization rates in our factories that are much higher. We're able to generate an acceptable return for this business, that therefore we can sustain being in the business and continue to develop products for our customers. And we've taken almost $20 million of cost out of our business as a result of those actions. Again, in a part of our business that was in structural decline, had we not taken these actions, it would have been a far worse outcome further down the road. And so stepping up to taking these actions to right-size our business and put our business in a place where it can contribute going forward is very important. And today, we're very excited by the prospects in this business. It's been consistently improving profitability and cash generation over the last year or two, and we think it will continue to do so going forward. So, you know, for each business, we have a general manager that runs this business. His metrics are not focused on top-line growth. They're focused on the other things. The people that are running the specialty business is a different story. To drive improve return on investment, of course, if we do 1 and 2 well, it's going to help on improving our return on investment. But in addition to that, we're looking at things like working capital reduction. I think one of the great overlooked areas of many companies today is, can you improve your working capital efficiency without negatively impacting your customers or your suppliers? And so we have an initiative underway led by our Chief Financial Officer and our treasurer that are focused on improving working capital. And just to give you an idea of the impact, I mean, we're a company that's less than $1 billion in sales. This year alone, year to date, we've taken 7 days of working capital out of our working capital, and that translates to about $16 million of free cash. And so the flexibility and the strategic opportunities to take $16 million and do something with it that we weren't able to do before is pretty profound. And so we look to continue on this improvement trend that we've started this year, and there's a lot of great things that are going on to help us do that. Last, to deploy a balanced capital allocation policy, and that really speaks to where are we allocating our capital as well as our human resource, again, focusing on the areas where we think we can win. I think we're much sharper today than perhaps we have been in the past in terms of being able to allocate our capital and focus our efforts in areas we can win. De-levering our business. Our leverage today, it was as high as 4.5 or 5 times. That's the way we measure it. For those finance people in the crowd, is net debt to EBITDA. That ratio was 4.5 to 5 times. We've done a lot of work of reducing that. A lower number is better, and we're down to a little over 3 times today. Our ultimate goal is to get to about 2 times leverage. But we will also balance on the way to getting to 2 times. We will look for strategic bolt-on acquisitions to use our cash that we believe can help further our company and accelerate growth in our company in these specialty areas. And so we'll balance getting to that 2 times goal with perhaps doing acquisitions and levering up to do acquisitions, and then in time getting back down to 2 times. So those trade-offs are being made every day by the management team, every day by the board of directors. There are discussions that go on every day as to are we striking the balance that we think makes the most sense. And also our shareholders are involved in those discussions as well, as we are transparent about the direction that we're taking. So how have we been doing? We talked about who we are and where we're going, how we've been doing. Well, we've made a lot of progress over the last couple of years, thanks to the hard work of our 2,000 associates around the world. It's a team effort, and as a result of that, you can see the improvement in operating profit, really starting back in 2013 and 14. One of our core metrics is operating profit, and a lot of progress there. You can also see the operating leverage we have in the business. So again, for those finance people, the further we get down the income statement, the more leverage we have. So a little bit of improvement up on sales and gross profit translates to a significant improvement in earnings per share, which you can see over on the right side. We've had a lot of progress there. And so the actions are making a difference, and we're making progress. The work is never done. There's more work to do, for sure. We aren't into patting ourselves on the back. We kind of get at what's the next step in our evolution to improve what we're doing today. We're encouraged, though. The stock market has responded. You can see the blue line in this chart is OMNOVA. We really had a very strong reaction earlier in the year. Our last 12 months is up 68%. Versus the S&P Chemical Index is up 15. So we've made a lot of progress. Not only is our price up, but the blue part of this chart shows our trading volume, which is up. And as a small cap company as we are, with not a lot of float, it's very encouraging to see the trading volume up, which means more people are interested in the stock, which opens up new avenues for investors and new opportunities for new investors to come in to the stock as well. So it's great to see that volume growth as well. So at the end of the day, the question that all of you are asking as portfolio managers is, well, okay, this is all well and good. Do I put money in OMNOVA or not? And to try to summarize, we think we have exciting opportunities in higher margin specialty businesses. We think we've significantly strengthened our innovation and commercial excellence processes and capability, both people and process. We think we have a lot of positive momentum on margin expansion and earnings growth and cash generation. We've significantly lowered our cost base and reconfigured our manufacturing footprint. We're very excited about our diverse technologies to leverage them across a broad set of markets. And importantly, we've upgraded our leadership team to bring this all together and make it happen. So we started off with keys to success. I continue to think that these are the key areas that we need to focus on, that our strategies need to be focused. And with that, I'd open it up to you with any questions that I can ask. What you happen to see up here is our new corporate headquarters, again, 10 or 15 minutes from here down in Beechwood. And if you ever are in the neighborhood, please stop by and pay us a visit. So with that, what questions can I answer?
I'm curious. Oh wow, I didn't realize how my voice sounded. So I'm gonna say,
Yeah, I didn't either.
what's the role of social responsibility in your company?
Yeah, I think there's a very important role for it. As you saw in our values, this idea of sustainability is a very important thing that we absolutely take serious and are very focused on. And that sustainability is not only for the environment, but it's also for the communities in which we operate. And so the money that we give to worthy causes in the communities around the world in which we operate, but as I said, more importantly, the time and effort that our people give to those institutions that improve our community and help the lives of people that are not as advantaged as we may be is very important. And I think it's one of the things that's unique about OMNOVA. It cuts to the core.
Oh, is there a ask one more question?
Sure.
What does your company do to protect the interests of the stakeholders? Like, for example, its employees, its customers.
Yeah, we try to think about all of our stakeholders. Certainly, our employees are an important stakeholder we think about. And at the end of the day, the most critical asset we have as a company is the people that walk in and out of the door every day. but we also think about the communities as a stakeholder. We think about the people who invest in us, our shareholders as stakeholders. We think about the debt holders that lend us money, all our stakeholders that we think long and hard about. And so they all are part of the equation and part of the decision-making process. And any big decision we make, all of those stakeholders are, we're thinking through the implications for all of them.
Thank you very much for your feedback.
Thanks. Your voice sounds great.
Okay, yeah, I probably can. You mentioned that the two phases of strategy that you consider are where to compete and how to compete. Do you believe that it's best to find places that are favorable and then figure out how to compete in those places? Or do you think it's best to start with how you compete and figure out places in which that is advantageous?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think virtually all the time, certainly most of the time, the first question we answer is where, and then it's how. So a lot of that goes into kind of the three-legged stool of what's really important to the customers, and they'll tell you what's important, and then you need to dig further and further and further to find out what's really important. What is unique about OMNOVA Solutions and our capabilities as it relates to that need, and then where our competitors are in terms of their ability to meet that need. And the combination of those three things really go into making the strategy and trying to determine, do we really have a unique capability of meeting an unmet need in the marketplace that we can defend from a competitive standpoint? And so it really is first where and then how. Yeah.
One of your slides, you talked about kind of upgrading your leadership team. And since you're such a technical company with chemicals and things like that, what were you kind of looking for more internally in your own company, looking for those leadership and technical skills, or was it more of an outside search as opposed to an internal development of leadership?
Yeah, it's a great question, and the answer is yes, it's all of the above. We've had a lot of internal promotions, and the first part of it was stepping back and saying, where are the areas we really want to emphasize more and focus our efforts, allocation of resource and capital. So where do we want to focus more? So first getting that kind of where to compete, and then stepping back and saying, do we have enough resource in those areas? Do we have the right skill sets? So it starts with strategy, and then based on strategy, we step back and say, what capabilities will be required in order for us to be successful in pursuing that strategy? And then we do an assessment of, okay, let's be honest, across those capabilities, how do we evaluate ourselves, good, bad, or indifferent? And based on that, that sets the agenda from a human talent standpoint of, all right, these are the capabilities we need to emphasize more. We need to find in our own organization. We need to go to the outside. We've done a lot of outside recruiting. We continue to do a lot of outside recruiting, but we also do a lot of promotion from within as we found that. And on top of all that, we have training and development programs that are focused on that same area. So it all kind of funnels down to where to compete and how to compete in order to set the strategy from a human resource standpoint as well, and our focus there. Yeah.
Yes, so in today's business economy, there's a lot of pressure from the stock market to see instant success, instant gratification, short-term results. Could you talk a little bit more about your education with economics and how that's helped you meet both short-term goals as well as long-term goals with growing your companies?
Yeah, boy, are you right on the first part. So there is a growing, I think, a growing trend in equity markets and investors and in the stock market of short-term gratification, and I think the danger is that can sometimes be at the expense of good long-term fundamental business improvement, but that's the world we live in, and so if you don't like the field you're playing on, find another field. So you got to kind of realize that that's the reality, and so you have to balance short and long term. I think in terms of my education and its role and all that in terms of helping me, first of all, I am a huge proponent of a liberal arts education. I'm a victim of one from Denison University, used to be a bigger rival of John Carroll's, not so much now, but I think it was fantastic in terms of broadening my capability and my strategic reasoning and logic and thinking through problems. And in many cases, if you get too narrow too early, what I've experienced is you lose the looking at problems from a number of different angles and perspectives. And I think my economics, both in undergraduate, and I was very fortunate when I went to graduate school at the University of Chicago. One of the reasons why I chose there is I could take graduate level economic courses, and just fabulous faculty members that I learned a tremendous amount from, and some of the fundamentals of economics that proved to be the reality time and time again, are kind of the bedrock of making decisions in business. And so I think it was invaluable, and I think the other thing in terms of education that I mentioned this in the classes that I was talking to earlier, but to learn this, the light bulb went on for me when I went to college, and I don't know why, but to be a lifelong learner, to always look for opportunities to learn and grow, I think that from a career standpoint is an invaluable thing to focus on, more important than, what position do I have today, and am I going up the ladder at a rate I think is important, but broadening your skills and capabilities, which gives you a broader perspective on problems and issues, and I think makes life more interesting, has been a key part for me too. Sorry, that sounded like a sermon, sorry.
You mentioned that the bolt-on acquisition is a way you really want to grow that specialty chemical side of your business. Do you see that as a means to expand into markets you're currently not into, or expand market share in the markets you're already playing in?
Yeah, so I think bolt-on acquisitions are one important way to grow. I would say even more important than that is organic growth, because organic growth is the gift that keeps on giving. If you really learn how to grow and develop differentiated value proposition for your customers, and being able to do that time and time again allows you to bring more value to anything that you acquire. So I put organic growth first, but acquisitions can help accelerate that, and our focus is in these specialty areas, and our first focus is in the specialty areas and in the markets that we're serving. They're very broad and big markets, so there's a lot of space there. And then we look at potential opportunities that are the next ring out. But our first focus absolutely would be in areas that we're in today. And why is that? Because we know something about them. We think we could bring something to the right acquisition, as opposed to going into pet foods that we know nothing about.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Beard, and my question is regarding your your coatings for the paper industry. Among your options, you could consider that you could be the leader in that market space, and those who could not compete would defer to you in terms of market share. Alternatively, you can choose to get out of that business. Without any special secrets you might want to share, where do you think that OMNOVA would head in that direction?
Great question. Thank you for your question. We choose to be a leader, and we are a leader in that space. And the competitive set has consolidated over time, and there is really a very limited number of competitors in that space today, and we are a leader. I think it's safe to say the leader in the space. And so it had been a huge part of the company, but with the structural decline, and with us diversifying and going more into specialty areas and growing our specialty areas, we've grown around that so that it is not as big a part, but it's still very important. We're still committed to the industry. We still believe we can make attractive returns, but we clearly needed to address our overall cost base in order to do that. And so all the hard work that we've been through on cost and plant consolidation is because we're committed to being a leader, and that's what we've chosen to do. If my wife asks a question, please don't give her the mic.
We've got a couple of minutes if we have any other.
Yeah.
How do you measure or assess sort of the risk of a very large customer like a Procter & Gamble, where I suppose if they change their mind, you know, and you can do something contractually, but how else do you look at that?
Yeah, no, it's a really important thing. One of the benefits of a diverse company with diverse markets and diverse customers is no single customer dominates the landscape. And so that's been a conscious part of our decision in terms of diversifying our space and diversifying the markets we serve and customers. So Procter & Gamble is a very important customer to us, but Procter & Gamble walking away tomorrow wouldn't sink OMNOVA Solutions. And so it's important that we continue to diversify and continue to look for other applications. One of the great things on our non-woven space is we see a lot of opportunities there for growth in other spaces that go beyond hygiene. You know, you'd think, wow, you serve the same market with, for hygiene as well as oil and gas and water filtration and surgical gowns and drapes and roofing mats. It's very similar technology that cuts across all these very diverse markets that you would have thought on first glance really don't have a lot to do with one another. So diversification is the short answer, I think. Yeah.
Since you have time, one more question. Your logo, or slogan rather, the Science of Better Brands, speaks to a focus perhaps on brands, but private label is also an opportunity. Do you choose to stay with the integrity of your slogan, or do you diversify in that area as well with your product?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. A lot of what we're doing is supporting, in many cases, industrial, but some cases consumer brands, so business-to-business brands. And our focus on the customer is to serve our customers to the highest level possible, superior service, superior technology. And so our focus is not to go out and compete with our customers. Our focus is to serve them to the greatest way possible. And there's a balancing act there for a lot of companies. Some companies have tried to do that. We think that that is a very, very tenuous position to take when you've been working with customers to gain their trust, to gain their willingness to collaborate with you. For them to find out that you're out competing with them is a pretty dangerous thing to do. Some companies have pulled it off, but we choose to really focus on serving our customers and helping them win in their markets. We think that's the best way to success for us. Yeah.
What is one thing you wish you knew, or that you know now, that you wish you knew when you were in our shoes?
Wow, that's a good one. I wish I knew how long it would take the Cleveland Browns to win a championship. I grew up halfway between Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and so my father had the option of driving north and west to Cleveland or south and east to Pittsburgh, and for whatever reason he chose north and west to Cleveland, and so I've been a lifelong Browns fan, and if I would have known that back then, I might have encouraged him to drive the other way and be a Steelers fan. Well, again, thank you all so much for your attention and your questions.
Before you go, before you all leave, Mark Matteries he's president of the Bowler School Finance Association, and he has a couple of tokens of our appreciation.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Thanks so much for
Thank you very
coming
much.
today.
Great to be here. Thank you. Thank you all. Very nice.
Not enough hands, right?
There we go. Thanks.